Hey, what's up guys? It's Yogs, and the New York Knicks made their deepest playoff run since the year of 2000. But they weren't satisfied with just that. They moved on from Tom Thibodeau this offseason, they made major signings, and now they're positioned to make another push at the conference finals and hoping to get even further this year. Do they actually have enough to take it to the next level? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. And before we kick off, please consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to hit those 1,000 subscribers, and it really helps me out, so I appreciate it. All right, so let's start with the positives for the New York Knicks, because in my opinion, they had three big ones. So the first one was their off-season work, right? They were very aggressive, and it paid off. They got Malcolm Brogdon, they brought in Guerschon Yabusele, and they brought in Jordan Clarkson. That's the bench depth that they were pretty much missing all of last year. Right? They were literally scrambling just to put together a second unit that could survive a few minutes on the court. Now, they've got more players than roster spots at the moment, so I think they're gonna have to make some tough decisions, especially with that backcourt, which in my opinion is a little bit crowded. So I could definitely see them moving on for a couple of younger guys to free up some cap, which is never an easy thing to do, but they still got basically the whole month of October until this actually happens. They also brought in a lot of guys for workouts and open runs like Dennis Smith Jr., Alex Len, Trey Jamison, and they were pretty impressed. I mean, Alex Len got a contract, Trey Jamison got a two-way contract as well. Now, what we need to keep an eye on is their big man depth, right? So the Knicks are expected to go with the double big lineup of Karl-Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson, which is something that they did in the playoffs last year against Indiana. But Mitchell Robinson, as we all know, is very injury prone, right? And their backups right now are Ariel Hukporty and Alex Len. And neither of them should be trustworthy. If Mitchell Robinson goes down, they're pretty light at the center position. Having a vet option in your back pocket like Alex Len helps. Yes, it does. But I mean, he's not gonna do that much for you. So I could definitely see them trying to make a move mid-season to maybe bring in a different center so they can continue to play that double big look. So the second thing that I think is really important is that their main guys actually got to have a whole offseason together, right? So Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, they figured out the rhythm fast last year. The pick and roll turned into a massive chunk of the offense for this team, and that was without an actual full offseason because they traded for Karl-Anthony Towns right at training camp or right during preseason. I don't exactly remember when it was. Now that they've had months to reflect and have a full camp ahead, that kind of continuity matters and should make this duo even better than they were last year. And they also brought in a new coach, right? So new coach, new system, maybe exactly what gets them to the next level. It opens questions though. Who starts? How are the minutes gonna look? And most likely the change that Josh Hart slides out of the starting five into more of a bench role, which honestly might be where he thrives. Push the pace, handle more, defend, bring energy to that second unit. And my projected starters for the Knicks would be Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Mitchell Robinson. Size, defense, shot creation. And unlike last year, the bench actually looks legit. Like I said, you have Hart, Deuce McBride, Malcolm Brogdon, Jordan Clarkson, Yabusele. I mean, good mix of defenders and playmakers and scoring creation. And just a reminder, Jordan Clarkson in 2021 with the Jazz and Malcolm Brogdon in 2023 with the Boston Celtics were both Sixth Man of the Year winners. And just for some context on these two, so Brogdon dealt with injuries in Portland and in Washington, and Clarkson's efficiency dipped when the Jazz slid into that lottery pick. But a fresh start in the mecca of basketball can basically reset everything. If both get back to good form, that's a massive bench boost for the New York Knicks. And tactically, I don't expect the Kings to play at the pace that the Kings did while Mike Brown was their coach, just because I think their personnel is completely different. But he'll try to speed them up, especially in the half court. And pace isn't only sprinting, right? It's quicker decisions, moving the ball sooner, not letting the defense settle. That's the change I think we'll see immediately with the Knicks. And defensively, if Mitchell Robinson actually starts next to Karl-Anthony Towns, which I think is something most people expect, that lets Cat kind of conserve energy, stay out of foul trouble, hopefully, and lean more into the offense side of the ball. With Mikal Bridges and OG on the wings, Brown won't need Bridges on ball every single trip like Tom Thibodeau did. OG showed he's more effective at navigating ball screens and defending at the point of attack than Mikal Bridges was last year. And yeah, I think Mikal Bridges really did have some trouble navigating through screens last year. That adjustment to me makes sense. Also, Brown's crafty sets, let's think of a DeMar DeRozan mid-range style of play. is where Bridges feels the most comfortable in my opinion. And with Towns as the offensive hub, post, or top of the key, Mikal Bridges can thrive. The bottom line is, deeper team, clearer system, more ways to win. But not everything is fun and games, right? I think there are some negative points that we're gonna touch on right now, which is the defense with Brunson and Cat in the same starting five. Indiana made a point to target that combo in the conference finals last year. Boston tried to poke it in the second round, and the only reason it didn't nuke the Knicks is because the Celtics couldn't buy a bucket from three. Just horrendous. If Boston shoots anything to what they did during the regular season, we're probably saying that they got bounced in round 2. The franchise seems to know it. They moved on from Thibodeau even after the Eastern Conference Final run. Hiding one bad defender is doable. Hiding two, a guard plus a big, sometimes in the same action, that's just way harder. That's why the double big comes in. Robinson as the last line of rim protection, Towns on the perimeter, honestly suits Cat better and could keep him out of foul trouble. My second concern with them is if Josh Hart stays in the lineup, right? So if they run it back and keep Hart starting, to me, that's a massive mistake. In the postseason, the unit posted a minus 3.2 net rating with 113.5 points per 100 possessions on offense. That's 35th percentile, and 114.6 per 100 allowed on defense. That's 45th percentile. The bench lineups, even when paper thin, were more productive. And now that the roster's deeper, there's no reason to stick with a group that already proved it doesn't hold up. If they don't make the change, to me, that should be their biggest concern. And the last point I want to touch on here is how everything ran through Brunson last year, right? And how he's going to have to adapt to the Mike Brown way of coaching, right? So under Brown, it's more a sharing, faster, less of one guy type of team. And that's a big adjustment. And look at the usage rate for Brunson last season. 32.4, that's 87th percentile. 35.1 in the playoff, that's 93rd percentile. The season before was even higher, 33.7 in the regular season and 38.9 in the playoffs. Those are 91st and 100th percentile for usage of one player. About as heliocentric as it gets. If they commit to Brown's system, those numbers should come way down. And the question is, can Brunson be just as effective when the ball moves quicker? Defenses can't load on him, and multiple guys are threats. If not, and they revert, you put a hard cap on the offense. Too predictable, too easy to scheme against, too reliant on one guy. And if you ask most Knicks fans, I think the only thing they want and expect from this team is to make it to the NBA Finals, right? Is that realistic? Absolutely. Barring any major injuries, the Eastern Conference frontrunners to me are the Cleveland Cavaliers and New York. And right now, the Knicks are a bit more favorites in my opinion. The Cavs are talented, but New York's playoff resume and the ability to win tough games gives them the edge. For seeding, I got Knicks as the 2nd seed and Cleveland as the number 1 seed. They're younger, they'll probably push harder in the regular season, so I think they'll finish first. But in the postseason, I just trust the Knicks more. If Robinson is inserted into the starting lineup, that starting 5, it's more balanced and more effective. And this time, the bench can hold its own, even in swing games. Put it all together, a team that's around top 10 defensively while staying one of the best offensive squads in the league, that's elite offense plus good enough defense combo is exactly how you become a true title contender. So yeah, to me, the pros, aggressive offseason, legit bench, and a full offseason for their main guys. You know, a couple of tweaks under Mike Brown, and then, you know, for the negative things, you have Brunson and Cat's defense. How will teams attack that? Will Josh Hart stay in the starting lineup? And how will Brunson's usage recalibrate this year? Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the New York Knicks. Let me know where you guys think they'll finish and where do you guys think they will get to in the playoffs. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Once again, we're trying to hit those 1,000 subscribers and it really helps me out. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.